It took everyone by surprise. A team of cellular experts at the University of Zurich in Switzerland took a closer look at the pancreas of 260 diabetics using high-tech phase contrast microscopes. What they found was straight out of a sci-fi movie. The pancreas was smothered in a toxic blanket of something that looked like a hidden inflammation, in a way that it was covering all of its surface. This hidden inflammation was shutting down insulin production and forcing people to rely on insulin shots, which proved that all along, not beating diabetes was not your fault. Because no matter how well you follow your doctor's advice, until you remove the toxic blanket around your pancreas, you're only treating the effects, not the cause. In the next 4 minutes, I'll show you how anyone at any age can target and eliminate the root cause of type 2 diabetes. For good, by waking up to a dormant part of your immune system and unlocking its power to clean not only your pancreas, but your heart, kidneys, and brain. Reversing diabetes in days and slashing your risk of heart attack, kidney failure, or Alzheimer's. And however complicated this may seem, it's 100% natural, easy to use, and cheaper than your daily coffee. It can be done from home and starts working almost immediately. It's the only tested method that allows you to say goodbye to your erratic blood sugar levels for good. We've been trying to crack the code on diabetes treatments, and we've noticed something totally bizarre that everyone else seemed to overlook. A toxic blanket of something that looked like a hidden inflammation was smothering the pancreas and blocking insulin production in the sneakiest way. Imagine trying to breathe with your nose pinched shut. Not gonna happen, right? That's what this inflammation is doing to the pancreas. But now that we see what's going on, we can start fixing it. This isn't the only group of experts who figured out this hidden inflammation is stopping the pancreas from producing insulin. Harvard scientists confirmed that this inflammation is the culprit behind insulin resistance. Cambridge University calls this inflammation the biggest enemy of diabetics, and Oxford University identifies it as the real reason why diabetes just won't leave your body. This life-changing solution has passed multiple trials before reaching you today in its final form and holds a 100% efficiency rate with more than 112,000 test subjects. Now you're probably wondering why you didn't read about this on the front page of your favorite newspaper. Here's the thing. For any medical breakthrough to hit the headlines, it's got to get the thumbs up from the big guys like pharmaceutical companies, research institutes, and medical organizations. And when a discovery like ours could turn their cash flow into a dribble, it gets suppressed. That's why we couldn't stay silent. Not when every 17 seconds an American is diagnosed as diabetic, and every 7 seconds a diabetic around the world is dying because of a coma, stroke, or severe infection. And especially since we know this works, even in the most difficult cases of type 2 diabetes. Look at the case of Laura Saxton, a former 52-year-old diabetic who sent me this testimonial.
You know, my blood sugar was always high, around 230 points. It never went down, no matter how much I tried diet, gym, medications. And for the first time during all these years of suffering, this week I saw it drop from 200 to 84. Just using this cinnamon ritual in the morning and following my normal routine. I just have to thank you, Joe, for helping me to bring back the joy of living life.
There was also Andre Sullivan, who is 58 years old.
People. My glucose was always pretty uncontrolled, sometimes hitting the 200s, even taking glucophage. It was never controlled. But then I discovered this cinnamon ritual here that you're seeing, and in a matter of 2 weeks, my glucose dropped significantly and stabilized at 90. Not to mention that I feel much more energy and enthusiasm in my day-to-day life.
So please pay attention to this life-changing presentation because I don't know how long I can keep it up. We need to spread the word quickly so people can regain their health. Scientists admit that the miraculous power of this method consists of its triple action approach. First, it restores normal function to your pancreas. Second, it allows insulin to flow freely throughout the body. And third, it brings glucose down to healthy levels. Now, if you're skeptical, I totally get it. Emotions can run high, especially when you've tried all sorts of treatments for a long time with no success. But today, things are going to change, and you'll reverse your type 2 diabetes. At first, your glucose levels will decrease day after day. Then, you'll get more energetic, your mind will be sharper, and you'll regain your zest for life. And most importantly, after years of poor sleep, you'll feel rested and light, and the pounds will start to drop before your very eyes. It's as if you became 10 years younger in 6 weeks. You'll forget about the daily injections, the fatigue, the cravings, about the horrible side effects of the medications, and you'll regain the freedom to be healthy. The freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want. The freedom to eat your favorite foods, and the energy to play with your kids or grandkids for hours. So, let's start. Nice to meet you. My name is Joe Payne. I'm 43 years old and I live with my wife in the city of Houston in Texas. I'm a researcher and specialist in diabetes from Harvard University, and after on in my career, I received the unique opportunity to move to Houston to work at the American Center for Natural Health, one of the country's largest centers for natural health. During that time, I closely followed some of the world's most successful doctors and researchers in the field with their scientific advancements and new discoveries. But of course, none of these discoveries compare to the cinnamon ritual, which I'm about to reveal to you today. You see, I only discovered this after receiving a call from my mother to talk about my father's situation, named Kenny Payne. With a sad voice, she confessed to me a drama that until then I had no idea was happening.
My son, your father got a bacterial infection because of his diabetes. The doctor said that at any moment his leg might need to be amputated.
Well, that hit me like a bomb. I could never have imagined. This is because my father has always been the man I admired the most as a person. Despite having a strong personality, he was my hero. Always very active and independent, the kind of man who lives with a toolbox at home, fixing everything and solving problems. So when he finally retired from his long 40-year career, he was ready to enjoy life to the fullest and have a peaceful old age. He dreamed of traveling with my mother, fishing, and even going camping in the woods. But suddenly he began to feel very strange symptoms. He started having uncontrollable cravings for sweets like cakes, pies, chocolate truffles, and ice cream. Then he felt very tired and fatigued. He wasn't even able to do his activities properly. Not to mention the tingling in his feet, and sometimes his vision was kind of blurry and foggy. That's when, during a visit to the doctor, we received the sad news. The diagnosis of my father's damn type 2 diabetes. It was a big shock for the family. After all, we weren't expecting news like this. From that day on, the doctor prescribed glucophage and ordered some monthly tests to measure his blood sugar. At first, he thought the medication would help, but everything got worse. And over the next 4 years, his glucose levels kept rising more and more and never stabilized. He started to have tingling in his legs, and the cravings for sweets never disappeared. On the contrary, they only increased. He also gained more than 32 pounds of fat, mainly in the belly pouch and on his back. And besides feeling heavy all the time, his body ached non-stop. That's when his old doctor increased the dosage of the medications and decided to give insulin injections. He accepted the doctor's decision willingly, but unfortunately, that didn't help at all. Moreover, over time, his immunity was lowering and his body was becoming more sensitive and vulnerable to horrible virus infections. But the worst happened about 2 years ago when he had a bacterial infection that he could not properly treat. The bacteria, called streptococci, caused a necrotizing fasciitis in his right leg, which was silently destroying his nerves until it left his foot exactly like this. And all of this happened just because of his diabetes, in addition to the difficulty his body had in fighting against it. Sometimes he had dizziness, diarrhea, and also sweated a lot. It seemed like there was no more hope for him. Only God knows what he went through. My mother, me, and the entire family were completely terrified by this. My dear old man hit rock bottom with this damn disease. And from then on, I only had 2 options. The first, to let my father continue taking the medications recommended by the doctors with all those unpleasant side effects for the rest of his life, putting my trust in doctors that I didn't know and my father's life in the hands of this corrupt health system, which wanted to amputate his leg. Or I could choose the second option, to fight for him, seeking the true cause of diabetes and reversing it from his body once and for all. It was obvious that the second option was my only choice. And since that day, I knew that this was my new mission in life. For the next 2 months, I spent all my time looking for information on diabetes, anything that could help me. And after reading medical site forums, checking scientific reports, and talking to other specialists, I couldn't find anything useful. Until one day, I went to visit my father in the hospital, and by God's blessing, I met a research doctor who was just passing through Houston before returning to Switzerland. Talking to a coworker, I asked what the doctor's specialty was. And to my total surprise, he answered he is an endocrinologist specializing in the treatment of diabetes and a professional reference in Switzerland and Europe. Hearing that sent shivers down my spine. It gave me a chill. I needed to talk to him. His name was Dr. Mark Donath. He was from Switzerland and introduced himself to me differently from other doctors I had met. And for that reason, I decided to start a conversation with him. He told me that he had been in Houston for 3 months as part of a medical exchange plan where doctors share new therapeutic strategies. Dr. Mark was also a professor and researcher at the University of Zurich, the most respected in the country. You see, citizens of Switzerland live on average a whole decade longer than Americans and people in most other Western countries. They are mostly slim, healthy, and active at very old ages. It's no wonder that Switzerland leads the ranking of countries with the highest life expectancy and quality of life in the world, having a health system that others envy. Another thing that shocked me was the fact that Dr. Mark was in great shape. Even being over 50 years old, he did not have that famous beer belly, and he looked about 10 years younger. For these reasons, I could not stop wondering, what was the secret of these people to stay so healthy, slim, and live for so long? First, I thought it might be genetics or maybe a daily routine of exercises they had. But something told me those weren't the answers. So, I decided to make an emotional appeal to Dr. Mark, and I told him about my old man's struggle against diabetes. I also told him how no treatment helped to stabilize his sugar levels, how painful it was for me and for his loved ones, how my father felt finished, and how we did absolutely everything traditional doctors ordered, and still his leg was about to be amputated. Dr. Mark listened to every word I said attentively, and with a certain mysterious look, he said,
"These will be my last 3 days in Houston before returning to Switzerland. Now I can't talk, but let's chat a bit on my last day here."
Well, on the third day after that, I noticed a very curious fact. Every night, Dr. Mark always did the same ritual. He drank a very strange beverage, adding it to what seemed to be a brown powder. Maybe the extract of some medicinal herb from his country. I really did not know. So, when he noticed my curiosity and interest in his ritual, he sat next to me and said,
"I know you're desperate to help your father get rid of diabetes and also all the pain, suffering, and sadness. And I can say that from our conversations, I could tell that during all these years treating patients with diabetes, you believe you did everything right. Everything you were instructed to do by the pharmaceutical industry, such as diet, glucophage, insulin, metformin, trying to lose weight, and even exercising. Now, this might be hard for you to hear, Joe, but you did everything wrong."
I confess that it intrigued me deeply, and at the same time, it bothered me. After all, I had done everything wrong, all this time, without even knowing. So he continued, saying,
"Look, in recent studies I had with my colleagues at the University of Zurich, after analyzing hundreds of diabetics and pre-diabetics of all kinds, we discovered that the real cause of blood sugar problems and even obesity is not high carbohydrate consumption, genetics, age, or lifestyle. It turns out that here in the United States, no one ever talks about what really causes type 2 diabetes. But the naked truth is that the root cause of your father's irregular sugar levels and also of 98% of diabetics and pre-diabetics around the world is hidden inflammation."
At that moment, I was confused and curious to know more. So he continued with his explanation.
Look, the explanation is quite simple actually. This inflammation, also called by some experts subclinical chronic inflammation, happens silently over the years as we consume processed foods or those full of pesticides. And also when we are exposed to chemical pollutants in water and air, that is, it's an inflammatory process that accumulates over time. And the big problem is, this inflammation creates a disastrous effect in the body, which is what we call insulin resistance.
As a health specialist, this made a lot of sense to me. After all, I had even seen a video by the famous Dr. Mehmet Oz explaining about the dangers of subclinical chronic inflammation. Remember, this gave me even more confidence in Dr. Mark's work. He really was a great specialist on the subject. Then he continued, saying,
"If you don't know, insulin resistance is basically a condition where the body's cells do not respond properly to the hormone insulin. Insulin is produced by our pancreas and is responsible for capturing sugar, glucose, in the bloodstream and putting it inside the cells to be eventually transformed into energy. That is, if your cells don't respond well to insulin, sugar roams around in your blood, which causes type 2 diabetes. Just so you understand better, imagine that the sugar in your blood are the criminals and insulin is the police. What do you think happens if the police go on strike? Well, the city would become total chaos. And the same thing happens with your body when your cells are resistant to insulin. Glucose spikes, blurred vision, tingling, limb amputation, and death. Do you understand? That's exactly what's happening with your father right now. His body is facing severe inflammation, one of the worst I've ever seen. And that's why his glucose levels are out of control and his insulin isn't able to do its job properly."
Even though I am a professional researcher with years of experience, I was in shock after hearing all of this. After all, I always felt that there was something more causing diabetes, something hidden that I didn't know exactly what it was. And now I finally had the answer. Then Dr. Mark spoke again.
"That's why nothing you tried to control the glucose and treat your father's diabetes worked before, Joe. Because none of these solutions and treatments available in your country can eliminate or at least mitigate this subclinical chronic inflammation, which causes diabetes, That is, trying to control your sugar levels with such inflammation is like driving a car with the handbrake on. You're doing everything right by starting the car, shifting gears, and stepping on the accelerator. However, because you have the handbrake on, which is the hidden inflammation, you'll never go faster than a turtle. And when that happens, it becomes almost impossible to convert the sugar in your blood into energy, melt that annoying belly fat, and get rid of the symptoms of diabetes. And of course, as you've probably concluded, none of this is your father's fault.
Well, after that, we talked for hours and hours. But to cut to the chase, let's go straight to the point. The moment he revealed to me how to do this cinnamon ritual. Dr. Mark told me that in Switzerland, men and women have the habit of drinking every single day, from childhood, a beverage prepared from a very powerful medicinal herb. Yes, cinnamon. If you don't know, cinnamon is a spice that has many anti-diabetic properties for us humans. But what's really powerful is not the cinnamon itself, but a natural substance found within it called polyphenol. Polyphenol is a potent natural antioxidant and anti-inflammatory capable of neutralizing the hidden inflammation that generates diabetes and stabilizing blood glucose. However, there is a problem here. Unfortunately, cinnamon has a very low amount of polyphenol. And because of this, you would have to consume almost 22 pounds of cinnamon a day to obtain its benefits, which besides being unfeasible, it can still harm your health and cause irritations in the mouth, respiratory problems, allergies, and high blood pressure. What's different from what happens with the Swiss, because as I said, they consume large amounts of cinnamon from childhood, which generated a natural shield in their bodies against diabetes and other inflammatory problems. Therefore, instead of looking for a handful of cinnamon in the nearest market and still putting your health at risk, stay here with me until the end, because I'm going to show you a simple way for you to get a pure source and, believe it, 230 times more concentrated polyphenol, which is the substance that really matters in cinnamon. So you can reverse your diabetes once and for all. Well, I confess, I was discouraged after Dr. Mark told me that cinnamon wouldn't be powerful enough to reverse my father's type 2 diabetes. But fortunately, he soon came to give me excellent news.
Look, Joe, even being a doctor with years of experience in the field of diabetes, my career has taught me that nature always has a cure for most human diseases. And recently, after many months of research, God blessed me, and I found a natural ingredient that has absurd amounts of polyphenol in its composition. I'm talking about approximately 230 times more polyphenol than cinnamon, the concentrated extract of trans resveratrol. This incredibly powerful ingredient is recognized for its anti-aging, antioxidant, anti-cancer, and anti-inflammatory properties. And best of all, trans resveratrol can not only reduce the hidden inflammation in your body, but neutralize it completely, and thus reverse type 2 diabetes once and for all. And for you to be sure that this is true, here are two concrete and undeniable proofs. In a recent clinical study conducted by 3 scientists from the National University of Medical Sciences, Pakistan, published in July 2022, divided 95 type 2 diabetic volunteers into 2 groups. One group would receive a concentrated dose of trans resveratrol, while the other would only receive flour capsules, placebo. At the end of 24 weeks, the researchers noticed that the group that received trans resveratrol supplementation managed not only to drastically reduce their blood sugar levels, but also to have a significant reduction in inflammation and oxidative stress caused by free radicals, while the placebo group did not report significant or evident improvements. Pretty cool, right? Another study done with diabetic patients, this time conducted by researchers at the prestigious University of Cambridge in England, came to the same conclusion. After 6 weeks of using trans resveratrol, it not only stabilized glucose at healthy levels, below 100 points, but it also reduced insulin resistance and decreased oxidative stress caused by free radicals.
Isn't that incredible? A natural compound so powerful that by itself it can reverse a disease as terrible and deadly as diabetes. Even being a researcher trained in the health field, I was really surprised by the results obtained with trans resveratrol. Dr. Mark told me that shortly after my father started using this powerful ingredient, he would soon enjoy normal glucose levels, as well as have a slim and healthy body, and be able to indulge in all the foods he wanted without restrictions. All this was sounding great, but what I didn't know yet was why I had never heard of this powerful nutrient before. After all, if it was so good, why isn't anyone talking about it?
Look, Joe, you can find all the studies that prove what I'm saying. They are in the research laboratories of the University of Zurich, Switzerland, and in other reputable universities in Europe. But you won't be able to find them in the mainstream media because the big pharmaceutical companies hide everything that might endanger their interests. Then he told me that this was the reason why many promising natural treatments emerge daily, and nobody even notices them. Every time a newly launched natural treatment works well, they simply are not interested and quickly pull the rug out from under whoever presents it, cutting off funding and not investigating further how it all works.
Hearing this made me very sad. But at the same time, I knew I could change something. That's when I promised myself that if this treatment worked on my father, I would show it to the world, regardless of the risks. So I immediately started my search for a concentrated, pure, and reliable source of trans resveratrol. But even after a lot of searching, I could not find anything that was really good here in the United States. A few extracts and supplements I found were 20 times less concentrated than what's needed to have a significant result, which honestly is ridiculous. That's when I had the brilliant idea to create my own formula based on the ultra-concentrated and pure extract of trans resveratrol and use it on my father. After all, I had unlimited access to a high-tech laboratory to conduct all the necessary tests, and that's exactly what I did. I contacted suppliers of trans resveratrol from Switzerland, purchased a good amount of this ingredient, and started working on a special formulation right here in Houston. However, I was still not satisfied. I wanted to go further and create something really powerful that would reverse diabetes as quickly as possible. That's when I, with all my professional experience, decided to add 2 more special ingredients to the formula to create an even more potent and effective solution. These 2 ingredients are the powerful RCM curcumin, extracted from one of the most powerful roots in nature for curing inflammation, the Kinbala turmeric. Turmeric is a root that needs no introduction when it comes to its natural anti-inflammatory power, but RCM curcumin is something completely different. That's because Kimbala turmeric, found only on Mount Kimbala in Malaysia, is the rarest species of turmeric on planet Earth. And RCM curcumin extracted from it is about 16 times more potent than traditional curcumin, acting quickly on chronic inflammation and being an important ally of trans resveratrol in the rapid reversal of type 2 diabetes. In fact, according to data from 2 scientific studies published in MDPI, one of the most important scientific databases in the world, in tests with human volunteers, RCM curcumin demonstrated the medicinal ability to control glucose, prevent the death of beta cells, and to decrease insulin resistance when the hormone loses its efficiency in the body. The third and last ingredient is magnesium. This is a powerful mineral that, according to Harvard, participates in more than 300 essential biological processes of the human body. But what many do not know is about its high power in defending our body. Just look. In a study done by 2 Mexican researchers in the Biomedical Research Unit published on PubMed, concluded that in addition to protecting the beta cells of the pancreas, magnesium supplementation also improves their function in our body, allowing for lower levels of glycated hemoglobin, meaning reducing the blood sugar of the volunteers. Well, basically, this is the powerful combination of 3 powerful ingredients handpicked to form the most unique and powerful combination capable of eliminating inflammation, and thus reverse type 2 diabetes in everyone. Look, creating this formulation was very tiring. I worked night after night until the break of dawn to achieve such a feat. But as I'm an experienced researcher in the field, I managed to import the 3 ingredients from the most reliable suppliers around the world to have the best quality. And I also gained access to a famous American state-of-the-art factory, approved and certified by the FDA, which agreed to carefully prepare those 3 rare ingredients, and turning them into an easy-to-use drop formula so my dad could take 2 milliliters or 2 drops every morning. This way, I would be sure that my father was taking the correct dosage of all ingredients daily. As soon as we finished, I had in my hands the most powerful natural solution existing to reverse type 2 diabetes on the face of the earth. I confess that even being a down-to-earth man, I was extremely hopeful about this. So I didn't waste time and immediately started giving this drop solution to my old man. In the first 3 days, he didn't feel much different, just a spark of hope. But after 2 more days, something changed. My father seemed less anxious and more relaxed. After a week, I could clearly see that he was sleeping better and that his energy was increasing. But we still hadn't noticed a difference in glucose levels. That's when my father began to doubt and think that it was a waste of time and money. But at the same time, I knew that Dr. Mark was a highly qualified researcher. He knew what he was doing. So this made us continue with the treatment. And then, 4 days after that, something incredible happened. He checked his glucose in the morning, and to our surprise, it had dropped 70 points, reaching 290. To be honest, initially, we thought it was a mistake. But every day that passed, his glucose dropped drastically. A few weeks later, it reached 210, 160, 130, and finally stabilized at 103. And that wasn't all. Though hard to believe, the fat on his belly and back was melting day by day as the blood sugar dropped. My father told me he was feeling much younger. His uncontrollable cravings for sweets disappeared and his strength was restored. In 5 months, he had lost a total of 32 pounds of pure fat. His glucose was stable at 95 points and his glycated hemoglobin at 5.5%. The levels of triglycerides, cholesterol, and blood pressure were all within normal ranges too. And for the first time in 5 years, my father could feel an energy and freedom he hadn't felt in a long time. He could go back to living his life, eating at family restaurants, spending more time with his friends, and going back to his daily walks. You can't imagine how wonderful it was to see your own father, one of the people you love and admire most in the world, get rid of such a disease. I still get emotional when I remember. His transformation was so astounding that the news of the diabetes reversal began to spread through the neighborhood. And it did not take long for some friends and relatives to start asking what my father had done, or what miracle medicine he was taking. It got to a point where I completely lost control of the situation. I simply didn't have enough of the incredible drop formula to make available to everyone. Then I realized I needed to help produce even more units of that very powerful diabetes formula. After all, I felt obligated to share this revolutionary discovery with the world and help all those who fight against type 2 diabetes to have their disease reversed forever, just like my father managed. It was then that after a lot of hard work, months of testing and experiments in laboratories for refinement, data collection, and a lot of money invested, was born what we today are proud to call GlycoClean. GlycoClean is the only natural solution in the United States in drop form that can stabilize your glucose below 100, eliminate symptoms, and completely reverse type 2 diabetes in your body, regardless of your age, genetics, or current health condition. Within the first week of using GlycoClean, the first thing you'll notice is your blood sugar getting progressively lower, even without putting much effort into it. Many people report, even without strictly following a diet, and even without engaging in physical activities, just by taking the GlycoClean formula, their blood sugar already decreases in the first few weeks. This happens because this is a period when the formula begins to act in your body, neutralizing all inflammation and restoring your natural insulin production. And as this cleaning is carried out, you will notice that those pains and skin infections, especially in the foot area, won't occur as frequently anymore. You will also notice that the feeling of tiredness and fatigue that has long accompanied you will no longer be with you. Furthermore, that feeling of dizziness, blurry vision, or the tingling in the areas of your feet and hands will also begin to disappear. And the best part is that you won't need to keep stuffing yourself with medications, restricting your diet, or killing yourself with extremely exhausting exercises. All this will happen naturally, right in the first month, thanks to GlycoClean. And as the days go by, you will also notice that your blood sugar will be getting progressively lower. And those glucose spikes that cause your head to ache won't bother you anymore. And when you complete the first 6 months of use, it's quite likely that when you visit your doctor, the news you'll receive is that your condition has been completely reversed, and you are free from diabetes. At least, that's what happened to most people who started taking GlycoClean around 6 months. Just take 2 milliliters, 2 drops a day, always with plenty of water, to access the definitive solution that reversed my father's type 2 diabetes, and also helped more than 12,971 diabetics and pre-diabetics to free themselves from high glucose and all the other terrible symptoms of this disease. Like in the case of Janelle Pemberton.
I tried everything, Joe. I did diets, exercises, stopped drinking, and took a bunch of those internet supplements, but nothing really helped me like GlycoClean. When I was first offered this formula, I denied it, and I bitterly regret that. It was only after I used it and saw my blood sugar plummet in the first 3 days that I believed. Now I sleep better, I don't feel tired, and can calmly eat my spaghetti. I finally reversed type 2 diabetes.
Or Terrence King.
I've been using GlycoClean for a few months and it feels like my life has changed. Before, type 2 diabetes limited my daily activities and I always felt tired. Now, my glucose is always under control. I have more energy and feel a freedom I never imagined possible. So grateful, Joe.
As you can see, GlycoClean has helped thousands of people around the United States to live better and without this cursed disease. And the next one could be you. And one more thing, it is approved by the FDA. It is 100% natural and has no contraindications. It is also free from side effects. Now imagine what it will be like to hear from your doctor that you are free from type 2. Imagine eating your favorite foods like bread, spaghetti, lasagna, and sweets without the guilt. Or even living a peaceful life knowing that your diabetes is controlled 24 hours a day. How much would you pay for that confidence? And especially that wonderful feeling of pleasure when you're waking up. I'm sure you would agree with me that it's worth thousands of dollars. But the truth is that my goal was never to get rich with this solution. After all, if money was really important to me, I could accept the proposal from a big pharmaceutical company right now. Close our website and earn millions with the sale of our special formula to them. But we don't want that dirty money. All we want is to help you and all the people who want to improve their health state. That's why I don't have the heart to charge you $500 as some customers have already offered to pay. I know you've already spent a lot of money on medicine, insulin, and solutions that did not work. And for this solution potentially saving your life from the clutches of diabetes, Alzheimer's, heart attacks, blindness, and premature death, I know it would be worth every penny. But even so, you won't have to pay even $300 for a single bottle of GlycoClean, considering there are millions of Americans suffering from type 2 diabetes today and who cannot afford such a treatment. I made all the efforts I could to make the price as cheap as possible. That's why today, only here and now, my team and I agreed to provide you with this extraordinary anti-diabetes weapon for just $69. Yes, just $69. But before you place your order, know that research indicates that it's best to take GlycoClean consistently for at least 6 months, because this time is to achieve the best results and ensure that you not only stabilize your glycemia and reverse diabetes, but also maintain it forever. Furthermore, GlycoClean is so wonderful that people who tried it and had incredible results continue to order more bottles for themselves and for their families and friends. And also, GlycoClean is carefully produced only in small batches that take up to 6 months to be finalized. This process is essential to ensure that the product's quality is 100% effective. And look, to really make sure that you're going to have the most transformative results possible, I'll encourage you to choose your 6-month treatment of GlycoClean, securing a massive discount all at once. Because I know how hard it is to live with the constant fear of going into a coma, losing vision, or even developing Alzheimer's due to the diabetes. That's why I created packages of 3 and 6 bottles of GlycoClean for you, and the bigger the package, the bigger the discount. For example, in this special promotion, 6 bottles of GlycoClean will go for just $49 each. It's less than $1.50 a day. But pay attention, this special discount is only available today or while supplies last. If the promotional bottles run out, the buttons will disappear until we manage to produce another batch, which takes about 5 to 6 months at least. Therefore, if you want to take advantage of this promotion before the bottles from our stock run out, choose below this video your 6-month kit of GlycoClean, or whatever you think is best for your case. But do this now, because our suppliers have already warned us that the costs of special nutrients in GlycoClean are going to increase significantly in our next order. Therefore, the smartest decision is to secure your 6-jar kit of GlycoClean today, or you risk missing our promotion. So go ahead, scroll down the screen and choose your kit right now to ensure your special discount. Next, just fill out the information with your address and payment method on our 100% secure platform. After that, I guarantee that your package will already be on its way to your door immediately. And I have one more little gift for you. Regardless of the number of bottles you buy, I will give you free shipping today. And in up to 3 days, our formula will arrive at your home. And remember, this is a special discounted price that will not last for long. Since this video became famous on the internet, our costs have tripled, and even though I don't want to, I will be forced to increase the price soon. I'll be honest, I don't know if this will happen tomorrow, next week, or next month. But one thing you can be sure of, if you miss today's special price, you will never have the chance to enjoy this discount again. That's why it makes sense for you to choose your kit below this video now. And I have some amazing news for you. By purchasing your 6th bottle of GlycoClean now, you participate in our weekly draws, where you will compete to win complete kit of supplements for your vision, joint pain, memory, weight loss, and high blood pressure. 1-hour online consultation with famous nutritionists such as who takes care of Oprah, Steven Spielberg, and other artists. Free apps for controlling your diet and daily health tips. And the most incredible prize: 15-day trip with companion to Europe with everything paid. Have you ever thought about winning all of this in the next few days? The chance is in your hands. The faster you buy, the greater your chance of winning. So, choose your 6-bottle kit right now and compete for all these prizes this week. You are closer to reversing your diabetes than you think. And I know that even after showing you all the scientific evidence and testimonials, there may still be a voice of doubt in your head right now, telling you that this is too good to be true or that somehow it won't work for you. For this reason, I've decided to support GlycoClean with a solid 60-day guarantee. Yes, you have 2 months to try this formula. Control your glucose, get rid of the symptoms, and go back to eating the foods you love. This needs to happen. You need to feel the results on your body, because if you do not reverse your type 2 diabetes or feel better after using our formula, if you do not notice your energy during the day returning, the dry mouth and the urge to urinate going away, and your glucose stabilize around 100, I don't want your money. We will promptly refund every penny of your investment. Just send an email to support@glycoclean.com, and that's it. On the same day, we will send every penny you invested right back to your account. We offer this guarantee because even with hundreds of positive testimonials about our formula, some people may still feel skeptical or doubtful. After all, even though there are thousands of men and women who reverse type 2 diabetes every month here in the United States, the pharmaceutical industry spends billions on advertising to promote a false view among the population. That's why I'm making you this strong promise. Either you control your diabetes once and for all, or you don't have to pay anything. You are just one decision away from changing your life forever. So select the kit of your choice below this video if you want to get rid of type 2 diabetes and start living again. And I have one more special message for those who are here so far. Everyone likes to receive surprises, is not it? And there's a surprise I want to make for people who secure the 6-bottle kit of GlycoClean. This surprise gift is not a book, a bottle, or anything else you might be imagining. It's something individual, personalized, and it's sold out there for almost $1,200. But only the people who secure the 6-bottle kit will receive this 100% free. I won't say what it is to not spoil the surprise, but I imagine that everyone who takes advantage of this opportunity will have a smile from ear to ear when they receive this gift at home. It doesn't make sense not to take advantage of this. I hope that you watching this video seize this opportunity because I'm sure it won't repeat itself. So just choose the best GlycoClean kit for you below to receive this surprise gift in your home too. You might not realize it, but you are at a real crossroads right now with 2 paths to choose from. Option number 1, decide that GlycoClean is not for you. Do nothing and let diabetes slowly corrode your body and mind until you become completely miserable. Choosing this path means continuing to have inflammation, pains, and always uncontrolled blood glucose, which can lead to lethal spikes. The path of restricted diets, deprivation of your freedom as a person, fatigue, insomnia, risk of diabetic coma, blindness, amputation, or Alzheimer's. Frustrated that nothing works, spending hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars on useless treatments, living with diabetes for years or even decades. Choosing the first option means surrendering to this cursed disease and worrying for the rest of your life about the high risk of dying prematurely. Think for a moment about your future and your family. What will happen if you don't act now and change the course of your life? What will happen if you let diabetes destroy your life? Every day for the rest of your life, you will go through the discomfort and pain of blood tests and insulin injections. You will try medication after medication without results, except for dangerous side effects like nausea, weight gain, and heart disease. Not to mention all the vacations, new cars, and other luxuries you won't be able to afford because you will be spending all your money on medications. Until the day of your death, you will be a burden to your friends and family. But even all this torture won't be enough to stop the slow decay of your body. Every day, you will have less energy. Every month, your body will get progressively worse. How long until your foot doesn't stop tingling until it becomes completely numb? How long until the doctor tells you they need to amputate your leg or your arm? How long until diabetes prematurely takes your life and terrifies your family? Look, a 2017 study found that diabetes is the 3rd leading cause of death in the United States, and diabetics are 2 to 4 times more likely to die from heart attacks, not to mention other deadly diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's, stroke, and kidney failure. I know it's hard to hear those harsh words, but it's the truth, and you needed to hear it. And I really don't think it's a path you want to follow. That's why you should consider option number 2, which is take your 6 bottles of GlycoClean without risking absolutely anything and start enjoying life again, even eating your favorite foods that used to make your blood sugar go out of control. Choosing option number 2 means living far from diabetes, Alzheimer's, blindness, heart attacks, amputations, and all the other evils that this disease can bring. Choosing option number 2 and making that decision now means making a deal with your own health and knowing you will have a long and happy life, having the energy necessary to do the things you love with the people you love. Besides, of course, saving hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars. You don't have another chance and don't have another opportunity. It's now or never. Either you seize and take advantage of this opportunity to completely free yourself from type 2 diabetes, or you will be overwhelmed by the feelings of anguish and regret the next day. You know that tightness in your chest we feel when we don't make a decision we knew we should make? If you don't seize this opportunity now, I'm sure that's the feeling that will consume you. After all, today I shared a personal story of mine. I presented all the scientific evidence and studies that prove what I said is true. And I revealed the true culprit behind your high blood sugar. I also talked about the ingredient that combats this. I showed you that GlycoClean is the only way to get rid of type 2 diabetes once and for all. And I made the best possible offer so you don't miss this opportunity. Finally, I even offered an exclusive guarantee to eliminate all your risks. In practice, either you get results or your money goes back into your account. To be quite honest here, when did the pharmaceutical industry make this effort for you? When did another doctor do this for you? Remember, you can get rid of this evil now. But for that, I need you to make that decision. So, choose your kit below, enter your details on our secure payment page, and come live a new life, free from the evil that is type 2 diabetes. It was a pleasure to share with you my journey of overcoming. I am Joe Payne. Thank you very much for listening, and may God bless you.